Conspiracy theories, eh? Wait till you get a load of this.
Hello, and welcome to Cracked Sisters Conspiracies. We're a podcast that covers conspiracy theories, mysteries, and all of our spooky shit. My name's Jackie.
And I'm Cassandra.
And we are said sisters.
We have a special guest today.
We do! Who are you?
James.
So James, who are you?
Just a person.
You're just a person.
I know you from work.
You do know me from work. Okay.
And occasionally extracurricular activities, which we're all pretty terrible at collectively.
Tennis.
Golf.
It was pickleball.
Pickleball. I couldn't think of what it was called. We played tennis before.
That was a disaster.
He just yelled at me the whole time.
That sounds
Because I guess
right.
there's rules in tennis, which I did not abide by. Or
you know what?
no.
That's right. I remember hearing about it, and I'm like, I don't want
And
to
then I tried to
this
play
guy.
with you like that, and we were like, this is stupid, so we didn't.
And then we played golf with him instead, and then it went fantastically.
I mean, to be fair, you sucked the first time we played golf.
He gave me some decent pointers, though, and it helped.
Yes, you did.
Well, I was rusty. I hadn't played in a while.
Oh, good
You
excuse.
did better the second time.
The second
you went
time.
out.
Yeah, I played a couple times after I was ready.
Anyway.
Okay, so what are you covering today?
Yeah, because we are not having a topic. You are having a
It
topic.
is my topic, yes. So a while back, you guys did a conspiracy theory of whether or not Tupac was still alive.
Mhm.
True, we did.
So I'm not here to dispute that or say otherwise. I think he is dead.
Okay. That answers that question.
All right.
So not too long after he died, his rap rival from the East Coast, Biggie Smalls,
Yes.
or Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls, was killed in Los Angeles.
Was he?
He
Dun,
was.
dun, dun.
We're not disputing that.
See, I don't think there's ever been a theory that he's not dead.
I don't know. I still don't know what the
No.
topic is yet. There's a lot of
There's a lot
intro
of
here.
controversy and conspiracies on who killed Biggie.
Oh,
There we go.
And whether
Okay.
or not they know who did it, but it was covered up by the LAPD and all sorts of
Oh,
things.
wow.
So,
Okay. I didn't know any
yeah,
of this.
it's
Some
all-
corruption involved.
But the
Possibly.
LAPD never.
I'm not here to badmouth any agency or anything.
It's okay. Everything we say is alleged,
Yes.
so don't sue us.
Most of the information was gathered from a book called Labyrinth by Randall Sullivan.
Did you actually read this
I read
book?
that book a while ago.
Oh, okay.
It's an older book. But most recently it was made into a movie with Johnny Depp called City of Lies.
Oh, I've
Which-
seen that. Okay.
Oh, have you?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
It would stay pretty accurate to the book. I mean, there was obviously some dramatic licensing or something.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho,
Okay.
we all know
Like
what
what I
I'm trying
said.
to
So
say.
that, and then
For
there's
sure.
obviously numerous documentaries. There's one on HBO Max called Biggie and Tupac, which is pretty good. And then
Okay.
Obviously, so obviously we know back in 1991, 92, there was the whole Rodney King thing.
Yes.
Okay, put a big black eye on the. No pun intended. Black eye.
Black eye, not black guy. So enunciation
Which,
is.
Rodney King was black, of course.
He was. He
And he
was.
Beaten by white officers.
Yes.
And that was tried
And
locally.
It was
here.
tried in Simi
It was
Valley.
tried in Simi Valley. So that happened in 91 and 92. The verdict came down, the riots and everything. So the LAPD had kind of a whole black-white issue with them and the black community. So as we go along, think about that in the background, why maybe some things happened.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Given the time. Okay.
September 7th, 1996 was when Tupac was shot and killed in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
Okay.
He came to be with Suge Knight at the time, who owned Death Row Records.
Yes. They had left that nightclub, right?
Oh, in Vegas?
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yes.
prior to that, he came to Suge because Suge bailed him out of jail.
Right.
He was brought up on charges.
Yes.
His assault charges.
Right. He was, while he was building his conviction, he was able to bail out, but he didn't have the money. Suge put up the money,
Okay.
got him out. Tupac was later recorded All Eyes on Me, which was his greatest commercial album under the Death Row label.
Okay.
So it was a
Got
good investment for Suge, right? He paid a few $1,000s to get him out of jail.
Got
And
a
he
whole
turned
bunch
around and
back.
made that money. Like you said, they were departing the Mike Tyson boxing match in Las Vegas, in which Tupac got into a fight with Orlando Anderson as they were exiting the casino.
Yeah, Baby
Right.
Lane? Or was that someone else?
I don't remember what his street name
I think it was
was.
Baby Lane, but no, I
Maybe.
don't remember.
I don't know. Anyway, he was a Southside Compton Crips gang member. Suge
Right.
was notoriously affiliated with the Bloods.
Yes.
which I got backwards
Yes,
the
you
first time.
did.
I was so tipsy at that point. I'm like, I don't know what day it was.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay. There was actual beef with Orlando Anderson from an earlier encounter that happened in Los Angeles, like at a mall.
Was it like 90-10 or 80-20, maybe 85-15?
What?
Percentages you're just throwing out?
They had beef. What?
Oh.
I'm just trying to keep you on your toes today.
All right. It was Father's Day yesterday. Dad joke, I guess.
Happy belated, by the way.
Oh, yes.
They had beef.
They had a beef with Tupac, for whatever reason, took it upon himself to attack Orlando, which most of the gang members that were affiliated with said that shouldn't have been him. It should have been one of the gang members that should have handled something with Orlando.
Okay.
Their job is to protect Tupac and keep him out of trouble. Anyway, he gets into trouble. So not too long after that, it was approximately 3 hours later, someone shot into the car that Tupac was in.
In Vegas, yes.
In Vegas, fatally killing him. A little backstory on Orlando Anderson.
Okay.
He was the nephew of a man named Dwayne Davis, also known as Keefy D, who was also a Southside Crip. Sometime during the early 90s, Davis had formed a relationship with Sean Puff Daddy Combs.
Oh.
P. Diddy.
I'm not sure how.
Wasn't P. Diddy on the East Coast?
He's the East Coast, but this guy was...
And this is the uncle of
Orlando Anderson.
Orlando Anderson. Okay.
Davis claimed that in 1996, Combs had put out a $1 million bounty on Tupac and Suge Knight.
Oh.
Okay.
Obviously, Combs denied that he ever did that.
Well, sure.
But for whatever reason, Davis says that happened. On July 2nd, 2018, Davis confessed to having a role in the killing of Tupac Shakur after revealing he was dying of cancer.
Okay, so like a deathbed confessional.
Yes. He went on to say he was the passenger in the white Cadillac on the night of the incident. He refused to name the other suspects in the car, but confirmed that the shooter was Orlando Anderson, his nephew.
Oh, okay.
And that was out of retaliation for getting jumped earlier in the night
Yes.
at the casino.
After the fight.
Right. And Orlando Anderson is dead at this point. Like, I think he got capped later on.
So they said it was for
shortly after.
retaliation and for the bounty. And like you said, Anderson was killed in a shooting in 1998, unrelated to all of this.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Los Angeles police felt that they had provided Las Vegas with enough information to prosecute this case, or at least close it.
Against Davis?
Against Orlando Anderson.
But he's dead.
He's dead, but still you would
Posthumously,
Yeah,
you can still do
posthumously.
I didn't know
that.
you could do
do
that.
that. Or, well, they had given him information too, possibly before he died.
Oh, okay.
They felt that Las Vegas pretty much mishandled it and didn't really have much interest in solving this case.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, allegedly again, the city of Las Vegas was kind of going through a transformation where they were becoming more of a resort and family style thing.
Oh, so they didn't want anything to mar their image.
Right.
Yeah,
So they were like,
sure.
okay, this
Any bad
happened. It was
publicity.
people from LA. We're moving on, and that's it.
Las Vegas
Okay.
is a terrible resort destination, by the way.
You've been there many times.
Yes, I know, and I am good for a lifetime, it feels like. Or maybe just not for the child, but
Don't get in a fight with any crips. And
I will try
Casino.
not to.
know what's good for
That's
you.
usually not my forte, but
That is true. You know, it's strange because no one offered me Coke last time we went.
we weren't offered or solicited for
Any drugs.
anything.
I was quite hurt.
You should don't look like a cokehead.
I guess not.
That's a good thing? Question?
I feel like cokeheads are classy.
Oh, okay.
Cokehead,
Cokehead
not
versus
crack.
crackhead.
Yeah, not crack.
That's different.
Coke is classy.
Did they offer you crack this time?
No. Are you saying I look like a crackhead?
James had jokes.
So moving on.
Yes.
Not more than a year later, in March 9th, 1997, Christopher Wallace was shot and killed in Los Angeles, aka Biggie Smalls.
Oh, but who's
Almost never
Okay.
referred to as Christopher Wallace.
Chris, just call him Biggie.
It's-
I'm not gonna remember.
I'm like,
that
who's
is.
this white guy named
Yeah.
Christopher Wallace that we're talking about? What does
Alright.
this have to do with Biggie?
And Biggie's from New York, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He had come out here to promote his album, and then there was some sort of music awards or something.
Okay.
And allegedly, too, the people affiliated with Tupac and them felt it was a little on the nose for him to come out so early after Tupac's
After he had,
death.
oh, okay.
To kind of
Oh.
celebrate him. himself.
Okay.
And like rub it in a little
Correct.
bit. Mm-hmm.
So on March 9th, 1997, like we said, around 12:30 a.m., Biggie, Bad Boy Records CEO Sean Puffy Combs, and their entourage left the Soul Train Music Awards after party, which was being held at the Peterson Automotive Museum.
In Los Angeles?
Yeah, like LA Beverly Hills area.
Okay.
They left in 2 GMC Suburbans, and it was being followed by a security detail in another vehicle.
Okay.
So party had been, was planned to go longer. It had been shut down by a fire marshal due to the crowd.
Fucking fire marshals.
Biggie traveled in the front passenger seat of the second Suburban alongside his associates Damon D-Rock Butler, Junior Mafia member Little C's. Cease like cease and desist.
Cease candy.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn.
And driver Gregory G. Money Young. Combs traveled in the first vehicle with 3 of his bodyguards. And like I said, there was a third vehicle that was a Chevrolet Blazer that had the director of security in it. At 12:45 a.m., the streets were crowded with cars full of people leaving the event. Wallace's Suburban had stopped at the light right in front of the museum, Biggie. Simultaneously, a dark Chevrolet Impala pulled up alongside Wallace's SUV. The driver of the Impala, an African-American male, rolled down his window, drew a 9mm blue steel pistol, and fired several rounds into the GMC Suburban.
Another drive-by.
And wait, so
here.
which car was Biggie in? The second one?
The second
Who was in the
yes.
first one?
Puffy.
Okay. And then security was in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the third car.
I would never sit in the front seat, by the way. I would be laying down in that third row. You would never know. I
With
was
like
in the car.
bulletproof.
Yeah.
Thing.
Fuck
Okay.
that.
4 of the 5 shots hit Wallace in the chest. He was rushed to Cedar Sinai. By then,
I've been there.
they drove him there
So am I.
themselves.
It's actually pretty good.
I picked
but-
up Dodger tickets
And he
there.
was pronounced dead at 1:15.
At 1:15 in the
in the
morning.
morning.
Yes.
Okay.
So
What does AM stand for? Do you know?
after Meridian?
After Meridian? What's PM? Pre-Meridian?
Prime Meridian? I don't know.
I don't know.
Prime Meridian. Isn't that something else?
This is something that has plagued me, but I won't Google it. I think about it often.
This is a good time to bring it up.
It is.
Is there any other things that
No, I'm
Interrupt
sure they
my-
will keep going.
you
You need to learn to roll.
So we're kind of going on a timeline here. of
Okay.
Events that
I
happened
figured
that
it would be
led
a
to everything.
chronological retelling of the event.
And then we're going to get into some more details
Ooh.
of each event.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it?
Got
Okay.
it.
So now we're up to March 18th, 1997.
Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to think of where I was at that time. Can't remember.
You ever seen the movie Crash?
97?
Crash? Yes, I have seen that movie.
No, I haven't.
Shocking. Anyway, the opening,
Like, there's
I
like
knew
all
I
this
was
stuff
going.
that. Sorry, go ahead.
yes. it's
Yes,
kind of
everything
a-
kind of
all
ties
these
together in
different
a weird
stories.
way.
Yes. Well,
It was good.
if you kind of
Well, I don't know. You guys are just saying words that don't make sense.
We're communicating
Well,
on a different level.
what if our 5 listeners haven't heard of this movie, huh?
Okay,
now they'll
fine.
go out and see it.
How old is it?
Like 20 years old at
Yeah.
least.
It won like Best Picture, I believe.
Oh, best picture. Okay.
So we were talking about what, 97?
97.
Well, it had to be after 97
Oh.
because the opening scene of that movie is based on this next part.
no,
okay.
no.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was working at Harley. So I was 18. So that would have been 2000 and...
No, you weren't 18 in 97.
No. When I saw the movie, I was
Oh.
18 because I was working at Harley.
Mm.
And so that was like 2000.
All right, shut up. 1997. Frank Lega shot and killed Kevin Gaines in a road rage incident in Studio City.
Who are these people?
Yeah, do they have any?
I will tell you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The shooting was investigated by LAPD Detective Russell Poole. During the investigation, Poole discovered that Gaines had ties to Death Row Records and the Bloods, and also dated Suge Knight's ex-wife.
Ooh.
Additionally, the vehicle driven by Gaines at the time of the shooting was registered to Death Row Records.
Oh.
Frank Lega, who shot him,
Mm-hmm.
was a LAPD narcotics detective.
Oh.
Wait, who shot
was-
who?
Kevin Gaines,
Okay.
who's everything I just read to you.
Okay.
I think she's confused on where Kevin Gaines fits into
Yes.
You'll see.
the mix.
Okay.
At the time Gaines was
I need
killed,
to take notes.
he was 31 and a 7-year veteran of the LAPD,
So an officer was killed, named Gaines.
named Gaines. So obviously this was, and Lega was also an officer. Frank Lega was white, Gaines was black. This was a situation where 2 officers were in a shooting. The officer that killed Gaines was white, Gaines was black, he was dead. So the LAPD now had an issue where,
Wait,
One
so white officer Liga killed black officer Gaines?
yes,
Tensions
Oh.
are high to begin
it's where
with.
LAPD has 10,000 officers on their department. So
Oh.
Liger's driving down the street, they get into this road rage.
Okay.
He's actually on the radio because he's in his UC car,
Yeah.
undercover car. He tells part of his team that what's going on, this guy's chasing him, whatever. Liger goes to pull over, so Gaines pulls over.
Mhm.
As soon as Gaines pulls over, he takes off. And then Gaines is on it again, chasing him.
Yeah.
They end up driving into a parking lot. Gaines pulls a weapon. Liger was faster with his.
Oh.
Gaines.
Okay.
Nobody knows Gaines is an officer.
Got it, because he was undercover.
No, Gaines was
Oh.
off. Liger was
He
undercover.
was off duty. Okay, I got it.
White Liga was undercover, and then Black Gaines was off duty, and
Right.
neither knew each other was an officer.
Oh,
So they
okay.
think they're White Liga thinks he's just road rage.
This
with
feels
a
like just a
civilian.
big misunderstanding.
Black
all
Gaines
over.
thinks he's road rage with a white civilian. They have no idea each other's an
Got it.
officer. Okay.
Liger immediately identifies himself after the shooting as an officer. They don't actually discover
Accurately
Gaines as an
telling.
officer until someone's at the hospital and they look at his ID.
Okay.
Oh.
And they're both LAPD.
Yes.
Okay.
So the investigation into Gaines's behavior also provided the first clues to the widespread police corruption of the Rampart scandal.
What is it again?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay, that's fine.
We cover it. That was March 18th, 1997 was the shooting. Now, November 6th of later that year of 97, a man named David Mack robbed a bank of $700,000.
Which is nothing in today's dollars, just saying.
Oh,
Inflation's
well,
a bitch.
For those of you with money, $700,000 is nothing.
Fuck, I'll take 700,000.
You could buy a decent house for that.
That was 700,000 in 1990s. That's
1997.
That's not what that's worth now.
Inflation would
This
be
is
more.
true. This is true.
That's
Million?
no, there's future value and present. We're not getting into that. A dollar today is not worth the same as it is in the future. Continue.
Okay.
But this
So
is a
neither of you
dollar
know
back
who
then.
David Mack is. correct?
No.
No.
Okay. So in August of 1997, Errolyn Romero became employed at a Bank of America branch near the University of Southern California. Like I said, on November 6th, David Mack and two accomplices entered the bank, and Mack claims he wanted to access his safe deposit box.
Okay.
Romero, who we mentioned earlier, admitted him to the secure area where he threw it to the floor and robbed the vault of $722,000.
So like straight cash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In her capacity as branch assistant manager,
And her?
There's a her.
Romero. Yeah,
Romero's
that's the
a female?
Errolyn. Yeah, she's a female.
Oh.
Oh, we didn't pick up on that.
Sorry. My bad.
How's
Yeah.
that name?
You're
spelled?
bad.
Errolyn.
Yeah,
That's a weird ass name.
it is one of a kind.
Like Marilyn
No.
without the M.
No.
Kind of like Errol Flynn.
No.
Is that an old guy?
Anyway. She had ordered double the usual amount of cash to be on hand at the bank the day of the robbery.
Also, it's an inside.
After 1 month of investigation, Romero confessed to her role in the crime and implicated Mack as the mastermind.
This was not the day of abundant reserves. Okay, so that is a little.
I don't even know what you just said.
Mack was arrested in December of 97.
Okay.
His two accomplices were never caught.
Was
Mack-
it one Romero? Isn't she technically an accomplice?
Oh, well, he entered the bank with himself.
With
and
two
two other
guys.
people.
Okay.
She was already in the bank working.
Gotcha.
Mack was sentenced to 14 years and 3 months in prison and has never revealed the whereabouts of the money.
Snitches get stitches.
Mack claimed he could do 14 years in prison standing on his head, and then it was no big deal.
Is
He
Mac
also
black?
He is.
Well, that's relevant. This is a very white versus black story.
He
That
also
is
allegedly
true.
claimed his allegiance to the Bloods and that he was a full member.
Mm.
Now, the kicker with Mack, also LAPD.
Really?
Yes.
The plot thickens.
Oh, wow.
And worked in Rampart.
Dun. Oh.
And you still haven't told us what Rampart is, but that's fine.
So I'm sure you've heard the name Rafael Perez.
You're so sure?
Yes.
No. Okay.
I have no idea who that is.
All right. Rafael Perez was like the name in the Rampart scandal. So on August 25th of 1998, Rafael Perez, an LAPD officer, was arrested for stealing cocaine from an LAPD evidence locker.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
On August 25th, 1998, Perez, then age 31 and a 9-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, was arrested for stealing 6 pounds of cocaine from a department property room. The theft was originally suspected to be an attempt at framing fellow officer Frank Liga in retaliation for the shooting of Perez's friend Kevin Gaines.
So Perez was friends with Gaines, whom Liga, the white officer, killed during the
Correct.
road rage incident. So he stole the coke to frame Liga, the white officer, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Okay.
They think that may have been the reason.
See, I didn't know.
The cocaine was estimated to be worth $800,000 on the street.
Damn.
His December 1998 trial ended as a mistrial.
Oh,
In order to avoid a second trial and the possible conviction of a second wife, who, according to authorities, may have known about Perez's illegal activities,
Mhm.
cut a plea bargain. In his
Okay.
plea bargain, he revealed the Rampart scandal in exchange for immunity for his misconduct.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So we're not going to get too into the Rampart scandal because that's like a whole nother.
Another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not really a conspiracy.
Okay.
Basically, what happened was he ended up rolling on most of.
Perez did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on everyone that was on the Rampart scandal. They were in a unit called Crash, which was a gang type unit that went in and did a lot of the tough work down in the Rampart area, which is not the greatest neighborhood in the world.
Rampart's a place. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rampart Station.
I did not know
there's
that.
There's an area of LA called Rampart.
Oh.
And then there's an actual Rampart division of LAPD
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
that works out of there. March 9th, 1997, Notorious B.I.G., aka Christopher Wallace, was shot and killed in Los Angeles.
We're just calling him Biggie because we don't
Biggie.
know who Christopher Wallace is.
Sorry. March 18th, 1997, Frank Liga shoots and kills Kevin Gaines in a road rage incident.
Yes.
November 6th, 1997, David Mack robs a bank of $700,000. August 25th, 1998, Rafael Perez is arrested for stealing cocaine from an LAPD evidence locker.
Okay.
To frame Liga.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
I don't know for sure. So all of that leads to an investigation.
But through the LAPD.
Yes. And Russell Poole becomes the lead detective in most of these cases.
Here we go. Got it.
So there ends up being two investigations into this, two different theories of who killed Biggie Smalls.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are those theories? Are we going to get into it or do you need
This
to?
is where we go.
Okay, here we go.
It's about right here, baby.
Okay.
So, Detective Russell Poole's involvement in the Rampart scandal began less than 6 months before Wallace's murder and a year before Perez was arrested. His involvement started when Poole and his Robert Homicide Detective Unit partner, Fred Miller, were assigned to investigate the 1997 Studio City shooting death of Kevin Gaines.
See that?
We've
I
had
took
this.
it
You
fast.
can barely say it once.
As we know, Gaines was killed in the road rage incident after he brandished a gun at another motorist who happened to be an undercover officer named Frank Liga.
Unbeknownst to him.
Yes.
Poole was not the original detective that handled the Biggie Smalls killing. LAPD Worcester Division ended up investigating the case for the first month. During the course of that first month, he received a phone call from Worcester detectives stating that there was a possibility that Gaines may have been involved in the Biggie Smalls killing. That was the first clue that came and led Poole to be the lead investigator. After months of investigating, Poole accused LAPD officer David Mack, along with Mack's friend Amir Mohammed, of being complicit in the murder of Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls.
I feel like that's a big deal to accuse someone.
Well, I mean, he did rob a bank.
well,
So he's not the best officer.
right, but
Right.
if that hadn't been a thing beforehand, I just feel like throwing out
Yeah.
accusations would be a big deal.
So essentially, as of right now, there's kind of two sets of LAPD officers. One that may have been somehow involved with the killing and shooting of Biggie Smalls, and then some that are investigating it. Is that fair to say?
Well, there's, LAPD as a whole, doing their job
Yes.
normally. There seems to be a certain set of officers
That are somehow involved.
that are somehow involved. They're working for Biggie off duty.
Ooh,
They're kind of
okay.
affiliated with the blood.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Like I said, he names them as involvement in the murder of the shooting, provided a description of a black male wearing a blue suit with a bow tie. He also provided that information to a sketch artist, and the result was a composite that was similar to Amir Mohammed.
Amir Mohammed was one of
David
Mac's accomplice?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, Amir was never questioned regarding the murder of Christopher Wallace. So we're going to take a little detour now.
Okay.
That's what we're great at.
All right. So there's a man named Eugene Deal. He was Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy bodyguard.
Okay.
Okay. The night of the party, he was told by a friend who was in a federal penitentiary to vest up,
What does that mean?
wear a bulletproof vest.
Okay.
You're
So
gonna
he
get
informed
got.
Combs that someone may try to kill them tonight. Combs brushed it off. Deal took the information seriously and was on high alert.
Mhm.
While standing outside Combs' vehicle waiting for the rest of the group so they could leave the party, he was approached by a man who appeared to be from the Nation of Islam, wearing a blue suit, white shirt,
And a bow
blue
tie?
bow tie.
Oh.
Deal had his weapon at the ready, and the man just looked at him and walked away. Deal was a little confused by that. He's like, "Why are you holding a gun?" Nothing like that. This guy just looks at him and walks away. Deal's like,
So Bowtie had the gun, not Deal.
no, Deal.
Oh, okay.
So shortly after the encounter, Combs' entourage leaves the party in 3 vehicles.
Mhm.
Deal and Combs were in the first vehicle.
Biggie was in the second.
Right. Deal tells his driver, "Run the next 3 lights. Don't stop for any red lights."
Oh.
So as they leave the museum, they made the light and crossed the intersection. Wallace's vehicle, which was behind them, did not. It stopped at the red light.
Oh.
It was stopped in the left lane prior to the intersection. The black Impala, which we mentioned earlier, driving in the right lane, stopped in Wallace's vehicle and fired 5 shots into the door. The Impala fled by turning right onto Wilshire. The third vehicle, which was the security detail for Combs, tried to give chase to the Impala but lost it right away.
Okay.
A call was placed to 911 and they drove to the hospital rather than wait for an ambulance. While at the hospital, Deal overhears Little Cease, who was in the vehicle with Biggie, saying a Muslim shot Biggie over and over. Deal said to him, blue shirt, white shirt, blue bow tie. And he replied, yeah, how do you know? Deal explained that he had seen him earlier.
Oh.
So he was presumably supposed to shoot P. Diddy.
The assumption was that was.
We don't know.
I mean, one can conclude based on what you told me, because Deal, P. Diddy's bodyguard, was told to vest up or whatever because there was an alleged
event
against P. Diddy. They ran the lights, leaving the only two other cars behind. I assume they're the same make and model, roughly, of the cars. Then this same guy that approached Deal,
know that he was in that second
exactly
car.
went and presumably maybe thought P. Diddy was in the first car, not Biggie Smalls.
And coincidentally, Biggie and Puff Daddy were both in the same seat in different cars.
Yes, because Puff Daddy was in the front vehicle in the passenger seat. Biggie Smalls was in the second vehicle in the passenger seat.
Correct.
Oh.
You know, Deal tells Little Cease, I explained to him that he had seen this guy earlier.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks later, LAPD detectives went to New York and showed Deal a picture of him and the Muslim from the parking garage. Deal says that the guy's face is blurred out in the photo. Everything else is clear, but the face is intentionally blurred.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
The photo was documented and logged as evidence, but was later removed, and LAPD claimed that it didn't exist.
Dun, dun.
Much later, Deal was shown a photo lineup by a documentary filmmaker, and he positively identified Amir Mohammed as the man in the parking garage dressed like a Nation of Islam member.
Ooh, okay.
Who's Amir Mohammed?
Yes. Good question.
Amir and Mac were close. He was the godfather to Mac's children and was also the only person to visit Mac when he was in custody.
Okay.
When visiting Mac, Amir used aliases to avoid detection of his visits.
Sure.
So that's who Mac is.
So what is Mac's relation with P. Diddy?
None.
None? Oh, okay.
No, he's Mac's affiliate to the Bloods and Shook.
Okay.
And an LAPD officer. Former.
Yes.
At this time, Poole claimed enough evidence to prove that Mac had ties to the CEO of Death Row Records, Marion Suge Knight.
Mm-hmm.
He suspected Mac and possibly other officers took part in the murder. Both Mac and Perez were at Peterson Museum the night of Wallace's murder. Mac as a party goer and Perez was on duty. Perez was on the crime scene log and allegedly collected shell casings.
Oh.
When Mac was arrested for the bank robbery,
Mm-hmm.
a search of his residence revealed ammunition that was the same make and caliber that was used to kill Biggie Smalls.
So potentially the shell casings that were from the Biggie Smalls shooting.
No, I mean, actually unused ammunition.
Oh, okay.
The same make and caliber.
That was used to kill him. Okay.
Right. And not only that, they also located a black Chevy Impala at Mac's residence. According to reports, Poole was denied any forensic or ballistic evidence gathering of the ammunition or vehicle.
Why would that be?
I don't know.
Corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Poole had sources that confirmed Mac was raised in the same Compton neighborhood and was in the same gang as Knight or affiliated with. Mac was a frequent visitor at Knight's private parties and frequently wore the same style and color, red, clothes as Knight and the Bloods gang.
Can never be a blood. Red isn't my color.
Yeah, that's why you can't be a blood.
That's exactly why. Look at us. We're blue and red right here.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't want to find. Like I said, most of this information came from the book Labyrinth, which was written by Randall Sullivan.
Randall Sullivan. Okay.
Yeah. So, after all that, Poole sends his findings to the then chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, Bernard Parks, who then ordered Poole to cease all investigations of Officer David Mack. In protest of Parks and the LAPD's handling the case, Poole reluctantly retired from the department in late 1999. Distraught from the order to end the Mack investigation early and forced retirement, Poole later stated that I almost took my life, but it was my kids that actually saved me.
So my kid's going to push me over the edge one day.
Exact opposite, right? Well, I believe his kids were older. They were young adults.
Oh, got it.
Jesus.
Furthermore, he ended up filing a lawsuit against the LAPD for violating his First Amendment rights by preventing him from going to the public with his findings.
Okay. So he believes Mac and this Amir guy are in on it?
Correct.
Okay.
Responsible for the.
But he
for
couldn't
his
say
murder.
anything because he was told basically to shut it down by the
Correct.
chief. Okay.
Exactly. As a private investigator, he did continue to investigate it on his own.
Okay.
In order to corroboration
Mm-hmm.
for what Poole investigated and alleged, an inmate named Ken Boagny shared a cell with Rafael Perez for 4 months and was housed in the same unit with him for a total of 8 months.
Okay.
You know the difference between housing and cell. So
I
in
do
a
not.
cell,
That's not my world.
a cell actually has 2 inmates.
Oh, you have to share. Okay.
Yes. So they were in that together. But a housing unit will have up to...
That's all the different
Is that
cells
like-
in an area.
Is that like orange? Oh, okay. No, it's not like open living. It's just okay.
Were you gonna say Orange is the New Black?
Because they had like the more open concept where it was just like bunks of like rows.
So they have.
Wait. You should just use like a HGTV term to describe a prison. An open concept.
I know what she means.
Well, I'm not thinking like individual.
So you'll
cells.
have correct. So you have individual cells in a housing, and you have multiple housings in a jail
Okay.
or prison.
Got it.
So he's saying these two were in the same cell or
For
in the
4
same
months.
housing, and then in the same housing for 8.
So they
For
were
full 8
roomies
months.
for a bit.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they were just in the same
Because in
general
the same
area.
housing unit, even though you're not sharing a cell with someone.
So they were neighbors. After
Yeah,
that.
you'll kind of see them in
Roughly,
the
yeah.
day room.
They were in a
eating, all that
neighborhood,
stuff.
basically.
Got
together.
it.
Okay.
So obviously, he's a prisoner.
Bummer.
So you got to take whatever he says with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So Ken said, Biagni said he became friends with Perez.
Mhm.
And Perez told him of numerous crimes he had committed while being an LAPD officer. Biagni alleged that Perez talked about his involvement in the Biggie murder after hearing a Notorious B.I.G. song on the radio. Biagni claimed that the money stolen in the bank robbery was intended to go to Harry Billups, also
Who's
known
that?
as Amir Muhammad.
Oh.
Because a lot of Nation of Islam people, when they changed their name, there was always...
They whitewashed it.
previously.
So like, oh. Okay.
So it's, no, opposite.
Okay, I got that backwards because that sounded.
So he was probably born Harry Billups, but if he
Got
became a member
it.
of Nation of Islam,
Okay,
he would have changed it to Amir
I
Muhammad.
see.
that makes more sense. I misunderstood the direction of that.
No problem.
It
So-
happens.
Biagni said both Perez and Mack were involved in the murder of Wallace, but Billups was the shooter for Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
Biagni said Perez told him Mack and he were both at the museum on the night of the murder, and Perez was the lookout, providing intel to Mack on the whereabouts of Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
There are witness statements that subjects were seen using radios prior to the shooting, professional police radios. According to Biagni, Perez informed Mack that they were heading to their vehicles, and 5 minutes later he was contacted by Mack, telling him to get out of the way. Then Perez said all hell broke loose. Also, in relation to that, not 100% sure who this guy is, or his name was Xavier Hermosillo. He was an LAPD fair rights officer.
What does that mean?
So I'm assuming that because LAPD had so many complaints,
Mhm.
citizen complaints, he would follow up with the people that made complaints.
So he was like IA.
Kind of within internal affairs, sort of
Oh, okay.
some sort of public relations type officer.
Okay.
In December of 2000, he heard testimony from inmates Biagni and Felipe Sanchez, who were in cells with Perez 2 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
He was told by Biagni that 2 officers had visited him prior to the interview and they threatened that they would be shanked or stabbed if they talked to him.
What's
Being
the
Hermosillo.
difference between shanking and stabbing?
I feel like shanking's like
A stabbing is going to be with a knife.
Okay, and
A
shanking
shanking
any
is-
sharp objects?
Exactly, going to be like a homemade
Shit, yeah.
Oh.
shank made within the prison.
You can let your creative juices fly with that one.
Right.
Got it.
During Hermosillo's investigation, he came across a photo of Mack and Perez with a female standing in between them. All 3 were dressed in red and standing over a cake that read Bloods Rule. Hermosillo identified the female
Was
as
she the bank lady?
She was not.
Oh.
She was the daughter of LAPD Police Chief Bernard Parks.
Oh.
which is presumably why he told Poole to shut down his investigation because his daughter was somehow involved.
Possibly.
Oh,
That's more interesting.
So
He is
Hermosillo
interesting.
claimed he booked the photo as evidence and it was never seen again. So if you look up his daughter,
Mhm.
there's not a whole lot of information on her. She apparently was like a clerk of some sort for the LAPD or the city of LA,
Mhm.
who was eventually arrested in Vegas for cocaine trafficking or possession. I didn't want to get into it. But
Yeah.
She got into trouble once. I believe she wasn't really actually officially charged.
okay.
Said she was there at
Shocker.
the wrong time, wrong place.
Mhm.
But anyway, it doesn't sound like she was always on the up and up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hung out with the wrong crowd.
is? Sorry.
Mhm.
So after all this, Biggie Smalls, his mom is still alive. Her name is Valletta.
Okay.
In April of 2002, she filed a wrongful death claim against the city of Los Angeles based on Poole's investigation.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Valletta claimed that the LAPD had sufficient evidence to arrest the gunman, but
they
failed to
didn't.
use it. Mack and Mohammed, aka Perry Billups, were originally named as defendants in the civil suit, but were dropped shortly after the trial began after the LAPD and FBI dismissed them as suspects. The case came for the trial before a jury on June 21st, 2004. On the eve of the trial, a key witness who expected to testify, Kevin Hackey, revealed that he'd suffered memory lapses due to psychiatric medications.
Oh my God.
He had previously testified to knowledge of involvement between Knight, Mack, and Mohammed,
Mm-hmm.
but later said that the Wallace attorneys had altered his declarations to include words he never said. Hackey took full blame for filing a false declaration.
Mm-hmm.
Several days into the trial, the plaintiff's attorneys disclosed to the court and opposing counsel that he had received a telephone call from someone claiming to be an LAPD officer and provided detailed information about the existence of evidence concerning the Wallace murder.
Mm.
The court directed the city to conduct a thorough investigation, which uncovered previously undisclosed evidence, much of which was in a desk or cabinet of Detective Stephen Katz, the lead detective in the Wallace investigation.
Oh, okay.
The document centered around interviews by numerous police officers of an incarcerated informant who had been a cellmate of imprisoned Rampart officer Rafael Perez,
Mhm.
which we just talked about. So
Yeah.
obviously it's Boagly. He reported that Perez told him about his and Mac's involvement with Death Road Records and their activities at the Peterson Automotive Museum the night of Wallace's murder. As a result of the newly discovered evidence, the judge declared a mistrial and awarded the Wallace family its attorney's fees, which was around $1 million.
Oh,
Okay.
Because it was declared a mistrial, there was going to be another
A
she was-
retrial.
she was going to sue him again. So, preempt that, LAPD decides to do a second investigation.
Mhm.
Because whenever a police agency does an investigation, you may know this, what happens when the media asks a question about the investigation?
They don't answer the question.
It's an ongoing
Because
investigation.
it's an ongoing investigation. So, if there's an ongoing investigation and Wallace's family wants more information, it's not
It
available.
can't be released
Got it.
because
Released because there's an
Okay.
ongoing investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So, in July of 2006, a task force was formed and the criminal investigation into Wallace's murder was reopened to look for new evidence to help the city defend the civil lawsuits brought by the Wallace family.
Mm-hmm.
So they were suing for roughly $400 million.
Damn.
Which,
How do people come up with these numbers? I don't understand.
so back then, music made money.
Yeah, that was
Right?
a long time.
So you have to look at what Biggie could have made
Yeah.
should he continue to make music.
Okay, the
And
projected,
royalties
anticipated.
projected, right?
Okay,
On top of damages and losing your loved one and all that kind of shit too.
sure.
So that $400 million is probably not that far off.
Okay,
You know,
Oh.
if you think about potential earning income.
okay. When you look at it holistically, that makes sense.
You look at it throughout a lifetime,
Sure.
essentially, right? Because his songs, anytime they get used for a commercial or whatever,
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
right?
Yep,
Exactly.
got it.
Rumor is that had that lawsuit won,
Mhm.
it somehow bankrupts the LAPD
Oh.
and they cease to exist.
Okay.
Now that I'm not 100% sure on because I believe most cities and police agencies have insurance,
They do.
Yeah.
and the
I-
insurance should pay that out. So I'm not totally sold on that theory. For
But the
maybe you become
aftermath, you don't.
uninsurable
Yeah,
after that. I don't know.
you
You
don't
know?
want to deal with the optics of that.
So before that next lawsuit is coming, the
Mm-hmm.
LAPD decides to investigate it again.
Okay.
Essentially, so they don't have to give information
Possibly
about.
allegedly.
Yes. Okay.
So they hire a retired LAPD detective named Greg Kading. Worked for 3 years on a gang task force that included the Wallace case. So Kading alleged that the rapper was shot by Wardell Pucci Faust.
Mhm.
Faust was a Mod Pyru gang member and associate of Knight, who also conveniently died on July 4, 2003,
So
after being
convenient.
shot in the back while riding his motorcycle in Compton.
Jesus.
Kading believes Knight hired Faust to kill Wallace to avenge the death of Tupac Shakur
Yes.
via his girlfriend Teresa Swan. Kading alleges Shakur was killed under the order of Combs.
My God.
Okay, wait. You just lost me.
There are so many people that are just boom, bam, 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 bam.
So Kading says that Tupac was killed on the order of Sean Puffy Combs.
So
P.
P.
Diddy
Diddy said, kill Tupac.
Right.
Okay.
So to
That's
avenge
why
that,
someone wanted to kill allegedly P. Diddy that one night, but presumably he went through the red lights and that's why
Well-
Biggie got killed.
in Kading's theory, Combs was not a target.
Oh, okay.
He says it was specifically Biggie
Oh.
in order to, because you took mine, I take yours.
Okay.
So
Biggie was retaliation for Tupac being killed.
correct.
Okay.
And in Kading's investigation, he says that it's straight and simple. He used this woman named Teresa Swan to communicate to Poochie kill Biggie.
Vengeance is confusing. Let's be real. There's too many people that are
Right.
That's
Very,
so
very
evil.
straightforward.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Well,
Well, that one is.
Kading's
I don't think I
theory,
believe that one.
theory is very straightforward and it's very convenient.
It's
the
too
person
simple.
he's accusing
No,
of killing
it's too
him.
simplistic.
Yeah. I don't think I believe that one.
It's
So-
very convenient. I don't.
Yeah.
Now, simultaneously at the same time, the FBI, who had been involved with the LAPD due to a consent decree because of the whole Rampart scandal.
The female
Okay.
body investigators.
Get out of here.
Did you buy that shirt at a gift
I
shop?
sure did at Venice Beach.
Mhm.
So, an FBI agent by the name of Phil Carson was also conducting an investigation into LAPD and if officers were involved in the corruption and the murder of Wallace. FBI officials conducted a review of the investigation and shut it down in January of 2005 after learning that Agent Carson had discussions with lawyers for Wallace's mother, Valletta Wallace, and had been subpoenaed to testify in her wrongful death lawsuit against the city.
Okay.
Prior to being shut down, Carson's findings were in line with Poole, and he vehemently, yes, thank you,
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
opposed Kading's theory that Faust was able to kill Wallace in a poorly planned drive-by shooting.
Oh.
So what does Carson believe?
He was
He
in line.
vehemently.
I got so lost on the vehemently, I forgot the point.
He was in agreement with very much with Poole's investigation.
And Poole was the first guy, the
Yes.
first investigating officer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, well, Carson completely disagreed with Kading's
Uh-huh.
investigation in that it was some random drive-by. I think that if you look at the evidence of the vehicle when it was shot,
Mhm.
all 5 rounds were right into the door of the front passenger.
Okay.
So it wasn't like someone could just drive up and just fire random shots.
It was intentional.
It was intentionally for that one person in that seat,
Okay.
whether it had been
Biggie
Combs
or
Puff Daddy
Daddy.
or
Finally, in the second lawsuit on April 16, 2007, relatives of Biggie Smalls, aka Walls, filed a second wrongful death suit against the city of Los Angeles. The suit also named 2 LAPD officers in the center of the investigation into the Rampart scandal, Perez and Nino Durden. According to the claim, Perez, an alleged affiliate of Death Row Records, admitted to LAPD officials that he and Mac, who was not named in the lawsuit, conspired to murder and participated in the murder of Christopher Wallace.
Mhm.
The Wallace family said the LAPD consciously concealed Rafael Perez's involvement in the murder of Wallace.
Biggie Smalls, right?
Biggie
Yes.
Smalls, yes.
Wallace is Biggie.
United States District Judge Florence Marie Cooper granted summary judgment to the city on December 17, 2007, finding that the Wallace family had not complied with a California law that required the family to give notice of its claim to the state within 6 months of
Oh
Wallace's
my
I feel like
God.
that's a nitpicky thing on purpose.
That's so bullshit.
big time. The Wallace family refiled the suit, dropping the state law claims on May 27, 2008. The suit against the city of Los Angeles was finally dismissed in 2010. It was described by the New York Times as one of the longest running and most contentious
that's so
celebrity cases
long.
in history.
What,
Yeah, how
1997
many
to
years?
2010?
Almost 20 years. That's 17 years.
17 years.
The Wallace suit had asked for $500 million from the
No.
city.
13.
Yep.
See, I thought it was 13 years, but then you said it so.
There was so
Like,
much conviction.
with so much
behind what I
conviction.
said.
In December 2012,
It's
the
just the
LAPD
livelihood.
released the autopsy results conducted on Wallace's body to generate new leads. The release was criticized by the longtime lawyer of his estate, Perry Sanders Jr., who objected to an autopsy. The case remains officially unsolved, despite a good amount of evidence being found.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, what do you think is the most
Yeah, give
logical explanation?
What do you think happened?
Based on all your research, what's your gut telling you? Allegedly.
I think Poole's investigation was spot on, and I think Perez and Mac and Suge and the Bloods conspired to
Kill him because
kill
of
him.
Tupac?
I don't know if it was because of Tupac. I mean, so if you go back, there's a lot of unnecessary beef between this East Coast, West Coast thing.
Mhm.
Things that happened, like Tupac and Biggie actually were friendly.
Okay. Weren't they
wasn't
writing
until-
diss tracks about each other though at the end?
And later on, and I think you talk about it in your
In our
Episode?
Tupac episode.
Tupac, where he goes to visit Biggie and gets shot like 5 times.
Yes.
to
Down the
survive.
lobby.
First time,
shit?
yes.
Yeah. Right.
So Tupac and maybe his associates seem to think that was something that Biggie ordered, or Puffy, or whoever. So that starts like this whole thing, and Biggie never had anything to do with it. He doesn't understand why. And then there's like some lyrics that Biggie says in one of his songs that someone says, "Oh, he's talking about you." And then Tupac does a song where he's like,
Yeah, they're doing diss tracks for sure
yeah, but
against one
Tupac's
another.
is like right on the nose. There's no question who he's talking
Yeah.
about and what he's trying to say. So that creates like this whole thing, and then people say that, like, you have to remember, Tupac didn't grow up in the gangs. He wasn't like NWA or somewhere.
He actually grew up on the East Coast.
He did.
Right.
He was,
And
in
then
the
he
East
moved to
Coast and
California
moved
with
to
it.
California.
That was surprising.
And
Yeah.
he just kind of lived in
So
between.
his whole gang persona didn't start until he became under the Death Row Records label.
Yes.
And he kind of took on that
that association.
right.
Yeah.
and then became an adversary of Biggie and the whole East Coast, West Coast thing.
Okay.
If you take that into heart and Suge Knight, and then believe that was a thing,
Mm-hmm.
that rivalry is a thing, and that they're the ones that killed Tupac, they took basically every dollar out of Suge's pocket by doing that. So if he believes that and he wants revenge, then that's what he's going to go and do. Or if they just thought it was disrespect that he was coming to the West Coast that soon after Tupac had died.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of leaning more towards that someone thought it was P. Diddy, and it was just kind of a
Wrong place,
wrong time, because they ran those red lights and Biggie's car didn't.
I feel like there was some like foreknowledge there to
Especially if P. Diddy's...
That's not the right word.
No, I agree. Especially if P. Diddy's bodyguard was told that an imminent threat might be coming, and they specifically ran red lights. Maybe they thought they were being tailed, whatever. And then Biggie's crew didn't get that thing. Allegedly, P. Diddy would be in the first car. If you didn't know the first car ran those red lights, therefore Biggie Smalls would be in the first car
that you saw was.
And then you would shoot it in the same spot that P. Diddy was sitting. I don't know. That sounds a little suspicious.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was the death of Biggie Smalls. That was super interesting. I didn't know.
There were a lot more people involved.
Bro, there were like 800 people. I had no idea the LAPD was involved or anything.
It was more just involved.
I never
That's
gave
the
it
word
one
of the
thought,
day.
actually.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
That was pretty interesting.
So, having now been an active participant for a single episode, would you want to come back and do another topic?
Yeah, if I find something worth
Disgusting.
discussing.
I'm sure we will inspire you, just like we
Maybe.
inspired you to do this episode.
So now that you have popped your podcast cherry, what's your initial feedback?
Yeah, how you feeling?
The same. I don't know.
You need
Should I feel
another
different?
shot.
We were
in
just
you.
force feeding shots down your throat. Maybe
He
you
has
just need to
one
keep
shot
that going.
and one seltzer that will cause him horrific heartburn later on, or
GERD
jaw
or something.
burn.
Esophageal.
Esophageal reflux.
Esophageal, yeah. I see you took off a few days. Did you go? It was your birthday weekend.
It
right?
was my birthday weekend.
She's
was
almost 30.
I turned 29 and it
And-
was terrible. Thank you for asking.
The worst trip imaginable. If you want to celebrate not being 30, don't do what we did.
Yeah, so we went to Lake
Let's
Havasu.
celebrate.
5-hour drive.
The drive wasn't bad.
No, because we drove separately. She
And I
drove with her husband. I drove with Alex. It was cool. We went to Guns and Ammo, and I found the gun of my dreams.
But you can't buy it.
But apparently, you can't buy a gun in Arizona if you're a California resident.
And Evan doesn't like you enough to have bought you the gun
No.
with his Arizona.
And I'm like,
ID.
that's cool. So then I was a little sad. So then we went to our Airbnb. That was cool. Everyone's partying the first night. I'm tired of
Everyone
shit.
but you.
I'm tired.
Good
I'm like,
birthday,
this is
girl.
cool. I'm gonna party tomorrow because we have plans to go on the lake. We have a boat. We have a jet ski. We have all this stuff. Everyone's partying. I go to bed. It's whatever. Everyone had a great
I
time.
went to bed at like 2:00 in the
Minus
morning,
myself.
and then got up at 6.
So then the next day we wake up. We're ready to go. I'm pretty confident we got fucking scammed out of our boat because the guy's not answering.
It was off to a rough start.
Alex and Evan went to the location to get the boat. He's like, it's a random trailer. No boat to be found. No one's answering the door. The guy's not answering his phone. He's not answering his messaging apps on the boat app that we're on. I'm like,
Did
cool.
you prepay for it?
Yes, we did. So I go, cool. We just got scammed out of $500. Finally, like an hour later, the guy hits up Alex, is like, hey, we'll meet you at the dock and you can come get the boat. So we're like, okay. We go to the dock. It's not the guy. Some random meth head comes up and is like, hey, you need a boat? And he's like, I'm friends with so-and-so. And he told me to come down and give you the boat because he's busy. So we're like, okay. So we get the boat, whatever. The jet skis are like an hour and a half late. We finally get the one jet ski. We get on it. We start riding.
35 minutes.
35 minutes into it, the jet ski fucking breaks. So now we are stranded on an island in the middle of Havasu, waiting for the owner of the jet ski to get onto the water, come find us, and hopefully fix the jet ski. That takes 3 hours.
We didn't have water, by the way.
We had no water.
We underestimated the amount of water and overestimated the amount
Evan
of beer we would need.
is so atrociously hungover that he just sleeps under a tree. Alex is trying to have the best attitude. I'm trying not to kill myself. Cassie is just drinking meat juice from a cooler because there was absolutely no water. So 3 hours go by. Finally get a new jet ski. We're like, okay, let's just go fucking drive, man. We drive, and then the fucking check engine light of the boat comes on.
We almost ran out of gas.
And then we're like, turn off, turn on. That's cool. We head back. Our fucking gas light comes on.
The hesitation with the turn off, turn on is because we had to jump the boat.
We jumped the boat
to
earlier in the day because apparently the boat doesn't fucking work unless you jump it. Cool, let's just go park in the blistering sun for 2 hours while we wait until the end of our reservation because I texted the guy saying, hey, you can come get the boat now. And they're like, no, we'll wait. It was just such a horrible experience.
And then we all came home.
And then we went home and I'm like, I'm ready to party. Evan's asleep on the couch. Alex is moping in the bedroom because he doesn't sit on the couch. Cassie doesn't know what to do with herself. I'm like, let's party. No one wants to party with me. Everyone wants to sleep. And then we all went to bed at like 8 o'clock. It was atrocious. It was the worst birthday ever.
Anywho. So, our next episode, I think it is your turn.
It is my turn. It's going to be a topic that I've received many requests on, actually. It's something I'd already planned on doing, but because so many people keep hitting me up about it, I'm going to finally do it. It's going to be MK Ultra. Ooh. So if anyone wants to reach us, we obviously have our email, crackedsistersconspiracies@gmail.com. Again, we have our Instagram, which we are most active on. I post on it weekly. You can give us episode suggestions, feedback, but nice feedback. We also have our Patreon, which is patreon.com/crackedsistersconspiracies.
Give us your money.
You can give us $1. You can give us $3 or $5. Maybe I'll show you my feet. Who knows? Whatever you're into. Otherwise, I think that's it. So stay cracked, y'all.
And have a great day.